How your brain turns strangers into threats. A man walks past a stranger on a dark street, and before he even decides to feel anything, his heart is already pounding. No conscious thought happened first. His body reacted before his mind caught up. And yet the stranger did nothing. No threat, no movement, no sound. Just a shape in the dark. And somehow that was enough. This happens every day in elevators, in parking lots, in unfamiliar neighborhoods. A flicker of suspicion toward someone who has given no real reason to be feared. Most people brush it off as random anxiety, a strange glitch in an otherwise rational mind. But the truth is far stranger. The detail almost no one notices is that this reaction is not random at all. It is ancient, automatic, and shockingly precise. To understand how this happened, you need to imagine a world where every unfamiliar face really could decide whether you lived or died. Long before cities, before language as we know it, before any concept of strangers being merely inconvenient or unfamiliar, small bands of early humans moved across unpredictable landscapes. They knew every member of their group by face, voice, smell, and movement. Anyone outside that circle was an unknown variable, and unknown variables were dangerous. A stranger could be a rival from another group competing for the same berries, the same water, the same cave. A stranger could be carrying violence, disease, or an unfamiliar set of rules that put the entire group at risk. In a world without hospitals, police, or any safety net, a single miscalculation about a stranger's intentions could end in death. Natural selection does not care about politeness. It cares about survival. Bodies that reacted instantly to unfamiliar faces, that activated alertness before conscious analysis, had an edge over bodies that paused to calmly evaluate the situation first. The ones who hesitated sometimes did not get a second chance. So evolution rewarded speed over accuracy, suspicion over open trust, and that bias quietly became part of human wiring. But this story does not start with full-grown adults reacting to strangers. It starts much earlier, inside the developing brain of an infant. Long before a baby can speak or reason, it already shows what scientists call stranger anxiety, an instinctive wariness toward unfamiliar faces that emerges around the same age across nearly every human culture studied. A baby does not learn this fear from a parent's warning or a frightening story. It appears almost like a switch turning on, as if the brain had been waiting for the right developmental moment to activate ancient protective code. And yet the strangest part is not that this fear exists. It is how the brain decides who counts as a stranger in the first place. Deep inside the brain sits a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala, often nicknamed the brain's alarm system. This is not a control center for logic. It works in fragments of a second, evaluating faces for subtle signals long before language or reasoning gets involved. Studies using brain imaging have shown the amygdala activating more strongly in response to unfamiliar faces, particularly those perceived as different from one's own group, even when the viewer reports no conscious dislike or judgment at all. The brain is making a decision the person is not even aware of. This is where the counterintuitive revelation appears. What feels like personal bias, an irrational gut feeling, or unfair judgment is often not a personal flaw at all. It is an ancient survival circuit firing exactly as designed, just badly matched to a modern environment filled with millions of unfamiliar faces that pose no danger whatsoever. The system was built for a world of perhaps 150 people. It was never built for crowded subways, online comment sections, or city blocks containing more strangers than an entire ancestral life would have encountered. But there was a problem buried inside this ancient design. It does not just react to genuine threats. It reacts to unfamiliarity itself, which means it can misfire constantly. This is the part that almost no one questions, because it hides inside something that feels like instinct, common sense, or gut feeling, rather than what it really is. A glitch from a different era. If you have ever felt a strange unease walking through an unfamiliar neighborhood, no real evidence of danger, just an unsettled feeling in your chest, you have felt this circuit firing. If you have ever tensed up slightly when someone of a different group sat beside you, even while believing you hold no prejudice consciously, you have felt the amygdala doing exactly what evolution shaped it to do thousands of generations ago. The unsettling part is that conscious values and unconscious reflexes are not the same system, and they do not always agree. What makes this even stranger is how social structure has bent this ancient circuit into modern shapes. Group identity, tribal loyalty, in-group trust, and out-group suspicion did not disappear when humans started building cities. They simply changed costumes. Political rivalries, sports team loyalties, workplace cliques, and online community wars all activate strikingly similar psychological patterns to ancient tribal boundaries. The brain still divides the world into us and them, except now the lines are drawn by ideology, fandom, or a username instead of bloodline or shared fire. And here the past starts showing up inside modern life in ways that go far beyond walking past a stranger at night. Consider how quickly online disagreements turn hostile. A person typing from a different political view, a different nationality, a different background, can be perceived almost instantly as an enemy, despite zero physical danger and zero real interaction beyond text on a screen. The ancient alarm system evolved for physical survival is now firing in response to pixels and opinions, generating real stress hormones for an imagined threat. This cost becomes visible in modern anxiety, social isolation, and the strange exhaustion many people feel after constant exposure to unfamiliar faces and unfamiliar voices in crowded, anonymous environments. Cities packed with millions of strangers create a kind of background hum of low-grade vigilance that the ancestral brain was simply never designed to sustain. Chronic activation of stress responses, meant to be brief and occasional during true survival emergencies, can quietly contribute to long-term anxiety, distrust, and even discrimination that has nothing to do with anyone's conscious values. But understanding this circuit changes its power over you. Knowing that an automatic flicker of suspicion is not proof of danger, not evidence of moral failing, but simply outdated software activating in a world it never evolved to navigate, creates space between reaction and judgment. The amygdala still fires. The ancient alarm still rings. But what happens next? Whether that signal becomes fear, distrust, or simply a passing sensation noticed and released, depends on something far newer than instinct. Next time you feel that flicker of unease passing a stranger on the street, notice it without obeying it completely. That tiny jolt is not really about the person in front of you. It is an echo from thousands of years ago, a voice from ancestors who never saw a city, a phone, or a face that looked nothing like their own. The fear is ancient. The choice of what to do with it is entirely yours.